Before he became a Hollywood icon, the silent gunslinger with an icy stare and iron will, Clint Eastwood was just a boy shaped by hard times and harder roads. Born Clinton Eastwood Jr. on May 31, 1930, in San Francisco, he grew up during the brutal years of the Great Depression. His family moved constantly, chasing job after job across California as his father struggled to keep food on the table. Those early years, marked by instability and grit, forged in Clint a quiet toughness, a trait that would later become his trademark on screen. After high school, he worked wherever he could, as a lumberjack, a hay baler, even pumping gas, before eventually being drafted into the U.S. Army during the Korean War. But nothing in those years could prepare him for what would happen decades later, a haunting experience in front of the camera, during a single television episode he filmed in 1970. To this day, Clint Eastwood refuses to watch it. And once you know the story behind it, you might understand why. It was during his time stationed at Fort Ord that Clint Eastwood found himself drifting toward a different kind of battlefield, the world of acting. Surrounded by fellow servicemen with dreams of Hollywood, Eastwood began to explore the world of performance, unaware that destiny had already begun to script his rise. His breakthrough came in the late 1950s when he was cast as Rowdy Yates in the hit Western series Rawhide. Though originally a supporting role, Eastwood's stoic presence, steel-jawed charisma, and quiet intensity quickly stole the spotlight. Audiences were drawn to his raw magnetism, and Rawhide became a powerful launchpad that set him on the path to stardom. But it was Sergio Leone's revolutionary Dollars trilogy that transformed Clint Eastwood into a cinematic legend. As the mysterious man with no name in A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, 1966, Eastwood redefined the Western hero, stripped of sentiment, cloaked in silence, and driven by his own moral code. The gritty realism and sweeping landscapes of Leone's so-called spaghetti westerns gave Eastwood global fame and reshaped the genre forever. In the 1970s, he doubled down on that image with Dirty Harry, playing the hard-edged San Francisco cop who delivered justice without apology. With his infamous line, "Go ahead, make my day," Eastwood became not just a star, but a symbol of rebellion, strength, and the quiet rage that simmers beneath the surface. Clint Eastwood didn't just act the part of the rugged outsider, he became the embodiment of it. As Dirty Harry, he gave voice to a nation grappling with chaos, crime, and blurred moral lines. His icy calm, sharp glare, and no-nonsense delivery made him a cultural icon, the face of stoic masculinity and unapologetic law and order resolve. But Eastwood was never content with staying in front of the camera. With an instinct for storytelling and a passion for control, he stepped behind the lens and began shaping his own legacy as a director. His directorial debut, Play Misty for Me, 1971, shocked audiences with its eerie psychological depth, proving Eastwood could craft tension as masterfully as he delivered it on screen. Over the decades, Eastwood's directorial range only deepened. From haunting westerns like High Plains Drifter, 1973, and Pale Rider, 1985, to introspective character studies like The Bridges of Madison County, 1995, he proved himself a storyteller unafraid to explore vulnerability beneath strength. His war epics, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima, both released in 2006, stunned critics not just with their scale, but with their empathy, particularly Letters, which dared to tell the story through the eyes of the Japanese, humanizing the so-called enemy in a way few American films had before. And then came Unforgiven, 1992, the film that redefined his entire legacy. A brutal, contemplative deconstruction of the very violence that once made him famous, Unforgiven earned 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, and marked Clint Eastwood not just as a movie star, but as one of America's greatest living filmmakers. Clint Eastwood's place in cinema isn't just legendary, it's carved in stone. With Million Dollar Baby, 2004, he once again stunned the industry, earning both Best Picture and Best Director Oscars for a film that blended raw emotion with gut-wrenching moral complexity. It was proof that even in his later years, Eastwood hadn't lost his instinct, his ability to find humanity in the darkest corners of life remained razor-sharp. And he didn't stop there. Films like Gran Torino, 2008, American Sniper, 2014, Sully, 2016, and The Mule, 2018, showed a filmmaker and performer still fully in command, exploring aging, trauma, heroism, and redemption with clarity and courage. His minimalist directorial style, natural light, few takes, lean crews, has become the stuff of Hollywood legend, celebrated for its honesty and efficiency. But Clint Eastwood's story goes far beyond the big screen. In 1986, he stepped into the world of politics, serving as mayor of Carmel-by-the-Sea, California, a move that surprised many, yet felt right in line with Eastwood's independent spirit. While often labeled conservative, Clint has consistently defied political boxes. His views lean libertarian, grounded in personal freedom, environmental stewardship, and a deep respect for individual choice. He's championed the arts, spoken out against overreach, and remained, above all, fiercely his own man. Whether behind the camera or behind a podium, Clint Eastwood has always been more than just a Hollywood icon. He's been a voice of quiet defiance, authenticity, and timeless relevance. Eastwood has won many awards for his work, including multiple Academy Awards, Golden Globes, and Lifetime Achievement Awards. In 2000, he was given the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award for his consistent high-quality production work. In 2007, he was given the French Legion of Honor, and on December 19, 1953, he was named an AFI Life Achievement Award recipient. Clint Eastwood married Maggie Johnson, who worked as a secretary at an auto parts store. He met Maggie on a blind date earlier that year. At the time, Eastwood wasn't a very well-known actor and hadn't made the huge impact on Hollywood that would define his later career. Maggie stuck by him through the early years of financial instability and long periods of professional uncertainty. They were married for over 30 years, during which time Eastwood's fame grew astronomically. They had 2 children together. Kyle Eastwood was born in 1968 and went on to become a respected jazz musician. Allison Eastwood, born in 1972, followed in her father's footsteps into the movie business as an actress, director, and producer. The couple had a stable public image for many years, but their relationship was deeply troubled by Eastwood's many extramarital affairs. After a long period of estrangement, they broke up in 1984 and got a divorce a few years later. At the time, reports said that Maggie Johnson got a divorce settlement of between $25 million and $30 million. Reflecting both Eastwood's immense wealth and the public nature of his marriage to Johnson, he had a serious and long-lasting extramarital relationship with stuntwoman and dancer Roxanne Tunis from 1959 until around 1973. Their affair was kept secret because Eastwood was becoming a rising star, but it was still very important. In 1964, they had a daughter named Kimberlyn Lynn Eastwood, who was kept out of the public eye for many years. For many years, not many people knew that Kimber existed. She was raised quietly by Tunis, and Eastwood didn't show much public support for her, though he was said to have helped her privately. Kimber would later work in the entertainment industry as a makeup artist and producer. Her relationship with Tunis coincided with Eastwood's marriage to Johnson, which was an early sign of the complicated and often overlapping personal relationships that would define much of his life by 1975. Eastwood started a relationship with actress Sandra Lock-Catch that was one of his most public and talked about ones. Their relationship was both personal and professional, and they became one of Hollywood's most famous power couples of the time. Lock-Catch co-starred with Eastwood in several movies, including the outlawed Josie Wales' Every Which Way Except Loose and Bronco. They were deeply in love and lived together for over 14 years, from 1975 until their nasty breakup in April 1989. Their on-screen chemistry mirrored that. Despite what seemed like a committed relationship, Eastwood had other relationships during this time, and it was later revealed that he had fathered at least 3 children with other women while still with Locke. This caused a lot of personal and legal drama, which ended in lawsuits and a very public court battle. After they broke up, Locke wrote a memoir called The Good, the Bad, and the Very Ugly, in which she talked about her relationship with Eastwood and accused him of betrayal and manipulation. People used to think of Eastwood as calm and reserved, but now his private life was being questioned because of the relationships he had with other women. During his time with Locke, he had an affair with flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves, whom he met in the early 1980s. Their relationship stayed private for many years because neither of them was famous at the time, which helped the affair stay out of the public eye. From this relationship, Eastwood had two more children, Scott Eastwood born in 1987 and Catherine Eastwood was born in 1988, and Scott Eastwood was born in 1986. While Reeves raised the kids mostly out of the public eye, Scott would later go into Hollywood and become an actor, known for parts in The Longest Ride, Pacific Rim Uprising, and Suicide Squad. Scott didn't use his father's name for a long time, and they only told everyone about their connection when she was an adult. Eastwood also got into show business, though in a more understated way, by working as a writer and actress in the Reeves story. Revealed Eastwood's growing trouble keeping private boundaries as his fame made it harder to hide his romantic relationships. After his public breakup with Locke Catch, Eastwood found companionship with actress Frances Fisher, whom he met while filming the acclaimed Western Unforgiven in the early 1990s. Their relationship, while shorter than his previous ones, was no less important as Fisher, an established actress with a strong screen presence, became an important partner during a creative high. During this time in Eastwood's career, they had a daughter named Francesca Eastwood in 1993. She went on to act in movies and TV shows and become famous through reality TV. Even though Eastwood and Fisher broke up, they stayed friendly in public and have sometimes been seen at events together with their daughter, which is a rare sign of traditional commitment. Clint Eastwood got married again, this time to Dina Ruiz, a former TV news reporter, on March 31, 1996. This was his second marriage. A lot of people were surprised when Eastwood married Diana, who was 35 years younger than him. Diana brought a new energy to Eastwood's life, and their marriage was widely covered in the media that same year. They had a daughter named Morgan Eastwood in 1996, and for a while the family had a stable and fairly modern dynamic. They were seen together in public and worked on projects like the reality show Mrs. Eastwood and Company. Aired in 2012 and showed the Eastwood family's life behind the scenes. However, the marriage started to fall apart, and by August 2013, Dina confirmed that she and Eastwood were living apart. Their divorce was finalized in 2014, ending Eastwood's last publicized long-term relationship. Clint Eastwood is one of Hollywood's most enduring icons, and his roles have defined the Western genre for generations. Even though Clint Eastwood has made a lot of movies and has a reputation for being professional, there is one project he has consistently shied away from, Two Mules for Sister Sarah, the 1970 Western adventure he starred in with Shirley Mann. To this day, Eastwood refuses to re-watch the film, and the reasons go beyond just artistic dissatisfaction. They include clashing egos, creative disillusionment, and a deep discomfort that lingers even decades later. When the film was shot, Eastwood was still in the early stages of. He went from being a man with no name in spaghetti westerns to a full-on Hollywood leading man. He had already proven himself in Sergio Leone's trilogy, and Two Mules for Sister Sarah were meant to solidify his rising star status during the French intervention in Mexico. The movie tells the tale of a cynical mercenary Hogan Eastwood who rescues and accompanies a mysterious lady Sister Sarah Mann on a deadly adventure packed with revolutionaries, hazard and deception. On the surface, the assignment regarded like a super match for Eastwood. It blended his rugged persona with an offbeat twist, offering a western laced with comedy and intrigue. However, from the moment filming began, Eastwood reportedly felt a developing experience of unease, the supply of a whole lot of. This discomfort became his co-famous person Shirley Mann, an outspoken and deeply involved actress whose working style clashed dramatically with Eastwood's late-again instinctual technique to performing at the same time as Eastwood desired a minimalist nonsense approach relying on quiet depth and subtle facial expressions. Mann became extra theatrical, assertive and at risk of tough the director's choices. Their personalities collided on set, leading to frequent disagreements and what Eastwood might later describe as one of the most hard-working relationships of his profession. He as soon as referred to the revel in a filming Mules for Sister Sarah as unpleasant, which for the famously confined Eastwood speaks volumes. The tension between Eastwood and Mann wasn't the handiest hassle. Eastwood was also Disappointed with the tone and course of the movie directed by means of Don Siegel, who might later emerge as one in all, Eastwood's maximum depended on collaborators. The film tried to blend traditional Western tropes with an unusual, nearly comedic undertone. Even as Siegel controlled to coax a few strong performances and visually dynamic scenes, Eastwood felt the movie lacked the grit and ethical complexity he gravitated in the direction of. Even worse, the movie's massive twist that Mlan's nun become in reality a prostitute disguised as a sister got here off as contrived and undermined the emotional stakes. Eastwood believed the tale veered too a ways into implausibility, and the film's lighter tone didn't sit properly together with his private taste for stark realism. Some other reason Eastwood has been reluctant to revisit Mules for Sister Sarah is the manner it represented a duration of transition in his career that he has, due to the fact that attempted to distance himself from on the time he become, nonetheless working underneath the shadow of studios and directors who did no longer absolutely recognize or harness his capacity. It would not be till a few years later with films like Excessive Plains Drifter and The Outlaw Josie Wales that Eastwood might start to take innovative manage and shape his own directorial vision, memories that aligned more intently with his inventive philosophy. On reflection, Mules for Sister Sarah became a symbol of a time when he became an employed gun instead of the or he might emerge as, and looking at these days might remind him of the frustrations and compromises of that generation. Over the many years, Clint Eastwood has not often commented at the movie, and when he has, his phrases were quite restrained, even cold, unlike a number of his different westerns, lots of which he revisits or references with pride. 2 Mules for Sister Sarah is conspicuously absent from retrospectives, interviews, or administrators' commentaries. His silence speaks to an unresolved soreness, a chapter he seems to do not forget, pleasant left closed. Whether or not it is the memory of creative friction, the frustration with the film's tone, or a popular feeling that the assignment virtually didn't reflect who he become as an actor or artist, 2 Mules for Sister Sarah stays the uncommon blemish in a career filled with iconic moments.